Hello everyone, welcome to my channel From Here to There Sojourners. If you are new, I extend a warm welcome to you, and if you are one of my regular viewers, welcome back. In this video, we are going to have a conversation about our journey through the first half of 2020. So I would like to hear your views in the comment section below. Sojourners, do you remember how 2019 ended? Yes, 2019 ended with much excitement as the world anticipated what 2020 would bring us. 2020 was expected to be a special year for many persons. For some people, 2020 was predicted to be a year marked by special events and inventions. For example, updated technology. China's big plan to connect Beijing to London via high-speed railway. Self-driving cars. Rebirth of airborne cars. Microchip being implanted in human beings. And commercial space travel, just to name a few. Some artists even composed songs with lyrics alluding to what they envisioned 2020 to be. Many viewed 2020 as a special year because it is one of the few years with the first two digits matching the second two digits and the date being written or read backwards and still mean the same. That sounds interesting, isn't it? This only happens once in a century or 100 years. It is also significant because it marks the beginning of a new decade, a new 10-year period. It marks the start of a leap year with 366 days. People born in a leap year will get the opportunity to celebrate their actual birthday this year. Wow! Isn't that awesome? Remember, these people have not celebrated their birthday on the actual date since 2016, and they will not do so again until 2024, since a leap year occurs only once every 4 years. Another special event is the US presidential election, which is held every 4 years. This will take place later this year. 2020 is also the deadline that the World Health Organization, WHO, has set to eliminate avoidable blindness through its Vision 2020 initiative dubbed the Right to Sight. From as far back as February 18, 1999, the World Health Organization launched the Vision 2020 campaign. The activities include eye care and the prevention and management of blindness. As you know, a person with a 20/20 vision can see clearly from 20 feet away. Sojourners, With all these plans in place, 2020 arrived with much more than we expected. Looking back at all that has happened since January, don't you think so? Now, we have completed almost 6 months of 2020. This is a good time to look back at our journey. So, get your cup of tea or a cool drink and let us rewind. Here we are on the first morning, looking through our 2020 lens. Okay. I don't know what you saw, but I am going to share what I saw with you. I saw the start of another decade, which is a period of 10 years. I saw that the calendar has shifted, causing many of the official and unofficial holidays to fall on the weekend, giving students and employees a longer weekend. Do you remember that when the holiday falls on a day in the week, students and workers usually get the day before the holiday or the day after the holiday off too? Now, this is good news for the employers because the work week is not altered and productivity is unaffected. I also saw some unusual things happening. I saw the unannounced and unwelcomed appearance of the coronavirus as it wreaked havoc across the globe. It came with a vengeance, Sojourners, forcing several countries to close schools, churches, important buildings and offices, business places, ports of entry in various countries, hotels, places of interest, places of attraction, and the list goes on and on. This coronavirus caused a ripple effect on the global economy, displacing or isolating many families. Many died without the presence of their loved ones around them, and they were robbed of the opportunity to get the usual homegoing ceremonies. There was a total shutdown in most countries, and people were forced to work from home. Social distancing became the norm, with stern limitations placed on social gatherings. The wearing of a mask was made mandatory. People everywhere wear a mask as a part of their daily accessories. Virtual platform became the order of the day as schools, churches, and businesses relied on technology to stay connected. Supply and demand became a major problem as the rush on the supply chain for food and other basic commodities ensued. The struggle to find the right vaccine began as the number of cases increased and the death toll rise daily. Then we see countries gradually emerging from the shutdown by removing restrictions and having people return to work. In the US, things were just returning to normal, and NASA astronauts were getting ready to begin the test flight of its new commercial spacecraft on the first space flight from US soil since 2011. This excitement was marred by the tragic death of George Floyd on May 26, triggering massive demonstration against police brutality and systemic racism in Minneapolis. The display of solidarity quickly spread throughout the other 50 states and across other countries, prompting people to march in the streets during a global pandemic. We see where this instability has created a paradigm shift in cultural awareness across the globe, especially in the US, and prompted celebrities and the head of various groups to evaluate the nation's core values and break their silence. As several other videos showing altercation between police and civilian appear on social media, it intensifies the call for police reform and an end to racial inequalities and discrimination. These issues have affected the Black community for decades. We see the call to action by the Black Lives Matter movement for police reform and the removal of monuments associated with oppression of the Black community. We see some brands reviewing and changing their names and logos as they face increasing pressure to fight racial stereotype. Some of these are the Aunt Jemima syrup and pancake mix, Mrs. Butterworth, Eskimo pie ice cream, Uncle Ben's rice, cream of wheat instant cereal, and Miss Chiquita bananas. We also see the names attached to some institutions and sports affiliates being changed because they are linked to racism. We have seen where protest can be a powerful political tool to enact change. It has become the medium through which marginalized groups can vent their frustration and call for change. We see the United States, which has always been a destination or refuge for people fleeing from oppression and violence around the world, now becoming an unstable environment. Then, as we approach the end of June, we see the resurgence of the coronavirus in China and now in the United States of America. We also see the air quality across most of the Caribbean islands reaching hazardous levels, with the usually huge dust cloud moving in from the Sahara Desert. This year, the dust is thicker than normal, and people are advised to stay indoors or wear a mask and cover their skin if they have to go outside. When you summarize what you have seen over the first half of 2020, you will conclude that the world is in crisis. And when you narrow it down, you will agree that the United States of America, which is the most powerful country, is presently facing a more serious crisis. So, we can clearly see that the journey through the remaining 6 months of 2020 will not be easy if things don't change. When we look through the lens of 2020 from a spiritual perspective, we see that God is trying to get our attention. Don't you think so? He used the burning bush to get Moses' attention. In Isaiah 14, verse 13, Moses told the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will see them again no more. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." Believers in Christ, God is using the coronavirus and social instability in the society to get our attention, whether you believe it or not. The idea that some lives matter less than some is the root of the unrest and mistrust we presently experience. So, when are we going to put arrogance aside and face the fact that we are all one under God? When are we going to put arrogance aside and face the fact that we are all one under God? I join with Susie Kasim in saying, one God, many faces. One family, many races. One truth, many paths. One heart, many complexions. One light, many reflections. One world, many imperfections. We are all one, but many. In Jamaica, we say, out of many, one people. No one knows what the latter half of 2020 has in store for us. But we all know that all the religious and spiritual practices lead to one deep realization. That is, we are all one. We should be able to take a break from our own experience and look at the experience of others. We should either connect with them through those experiences or use the lessons learned from them to lessen the intensity of our own pain and suffering. Let us stop for a moment, Sojourners, and ask for God's supernatural intervention. It might take some serious fasting and prayer, but we are sure to get positive results. The Bible tells us that Israel was in bondage for 70 years, and Daniel fasted for 21 days and prayed for deliverance. Israel was delivered because of Daniel's prayer. If you are in bondage today, that same God can deliver you. He can deliver me too. If your bondage is racial injustice, police brutality, oppression, unemployment, sickness, or whatever it may be, take it to the Lord in prayer. Sojourners, as we fast and pray, let us humble ourselves, ask for forgiveness, and seek God's face. Ask Him to take control of the rest of 2020 and heal our land. We are in serious time. May God have mercy upon us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like, share, and subscribe tabs below. Also, you may click the bell to be notified whenever I post other videos. Thank you.